Hi, I'm David, and this is Build to Succeed from Very Good Ventures. Today, we're joined by Martin Remmelgas, CEO of Codemagic, a company deeply embedded in the Flutter ecosystem. Martin's international background and entrepreneurial journey have shaped a unique approach to building developer tools at scale, especially for startups, but now increasingly for enterprises. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Hi, Martin. Thanks so much for coming on Build to Succeed today.
Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, you and I have known each other for quite a long time now, going back to the very early days of Flutter. You were super early in the Flutter ecosystem. I thought maybe a way to get started, I think you have a pretty interesting backstory, like your personal journey, all the different places you've lived. I know you're in Estonia now and grew up in Estonia. Maybe to get us started, can you just give us a little bit about that story personally of how you got to where you are today?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I grew up in Estonia, and I wanted to become a chemist. So I went to study in Edinburgh in Scotland. During my studies, I earned my money by doing door-to-door sales in America. So I got a chance to work in Montana and Butte and Billings, also in Indiana, in Bloomington, for example, around that area, and in Texas as well, south of San Antonio in the desert. And then in my final years of studies, or 1 year before the final year, I was in Singapore doing my industrial placement for a year. And I turns out I didn't want to become a chemist anymore. I wanted to change the careers. I saw some guys building startups, and I also saw what an expert chemist looks like, and where is this train going that I am on at the moment?
Mm.
And decided maybe it's time to change trains or make a stop and do something different. Yeah.
What was it about technology that really caught your interest?
I had a dream of building a research lab in chemistry, but that takes 10 or 20 years to do. And technology, you don't have stack traces in chemistry. You can't get error messages if something goes wrong, right? But technology, it allows you to build something quite quickly compared to anything else. Yeah. So that kind of attracted me. If you have an idea, you can actually do something about it and implement it. Whereas if you consider chemistry like construction work or something else like that, you require some capital. But everybody can start the technology company.
Well, and you also were telling me that about this door-to-door salesman thing that you had, and I'm curious whether that gave you any desire for speed and moving quickly, because I know that you got the door slammed on you quite a few times in your door-to-door sales. How did that influence your career decisions and you as a professional?
Sales and door-to-door sales, it teaches you a lot. The most that it teaches you is that you will be surprised what you will get if you always expect the best. In the beginning, if you're starting out, trying to sell something, you don't know what you're doing, and it doesn't work out, and then suddenly it does, and you'll be surprised. You can work in low-income areas and succeed, and you can work in high-income areas and fail, and you're thinking to yourself, maybe these guys don't have money, right? Or I don't know. There are small things that you can do that make all the difference in the world. And having this performance metrics, working hard, paying attention to the details, and just not giving up and always trying to do better, it does translate to results. And it gives you a confidence in whatever you do in life, that if you work hard and you're always wanting to get better, then it's this belief that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that you will get there. That's what it helped me with.
Nice. Well, it sounds like you learned some lessons early on in your career about speed, being able to move quickly, and that you can't wait for that 10, 20-year cycle, persistence, right? And just kind of working through both failure and success. And A lot of that I think comes, you see it in your products actually. I think in terms of like helping developers move more quickly, learn from what they're doing, and et cetera, et cetera. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the story of how you got to Codemagic, which is the product you're leading today? I know in Nevercode more broadly. Tell us that story arc. How did you get that started? And then what was sort of the journey to get to Codemagic as we know it today?
Uh, when back in university, when I was in Singapore, so when I was doing my industrial placement, then I decided let's try this startup thing. So in the summer, when I came back to Estonia, I had some ideas what I wanted to build. I tried to recruit the team, and we tried like a startup idea, which failed. But one of the mentors at the time was CTO at Nevercode, which was the company behind Codemagic. And after my studies, I was working in Ernst Young, and then he invited me to join Nevercode or Codemagic at the time. And that was at the inception of this. So before Flutter Live or Flutter 1.0 release, I joined right before that. And Codemagic itself, it used to be a development agency, quite similar to Very Good Ventures, for example. This agency did an internal hackathon in 2012. And back then, if you recall, Hudson or Jenkins was the norm. And it was painful to manage some CI pipelines. Like Agile Manifesto has been created and people were trying Scrum and all that stuff. And managing all of the operations and processes becomes a full-time job to somebody. So they started this idea of can we productize our knowledge and our operations to build a product out of all of this DevOps work that we're doing inside the company and sell it to our customers, perhaps. So that was the idea behind Greenhouse at the time, which evolved to Nevercode and then to Codemagic. But that's where it all started. And I joined right before Codemagic was launched. Yeah.
Wow. So it came from an internal hackathon and then you kind of pivoted over to just this is a business. And you guys were super early with the Flutter focus and being big members of the Flutter community. I mean, you've been there since day one, and at sort of every major Flutter event that's ever happened, there's always been a Codemagic presence. Even going back to, I don't know if you remember the Chrysler building party. I remember you guys had a section of that and everything. And even before like events were really events for Flutter. How did that like relationship with the Flutter ecosystem come about, and what did it do for your team and the growth?
Mhm. It came about before I joined. In the summer of 2018, I believe it was DroidCon Berlin that they had this, or I think it was even this Mobile World Congress when they announced the beta, but DroidCon Berlin, some of the team members went there and they saw some demos of Flutter. It's like, hey, people get excited about this Flutter thing. What if we do something about it? And so Nevercode product back then, it created like some hack on how you can build Flutter apps. And our CMO at the time tweeted about this to Tim Sneath, who was the head of Flutter back then. And to our surprise, Tim responded. And then we got to work on what is now known as Codemagic. So we completely built a new product only for Flutter. And that's how this relationship came about with Google and Codemagic.
What was it about the Flutter ecosystem at that time that made that an exciting opportunity for you?
I think the team got excited about it because the technology seemed interesting and cool. So they were wanting to experiment and try out like, what is this new thing that is Flutter or Dart? It was, and people seemed really excited about this new thing. So then when you try it out, you realize it's quite different from any other multi-platform framework on the market. And the community behind it was very, very welcoming. So when we created this MVP or this first idea, like supporting the Flutter community, everybody jumped on board and was interested in joining our private Slack channel, was interested in giving, feedback, being these early adopters and kind of supporting us and feeling like, yeah, let's do something great for Flutter, guys. So that, and obviously, like once Google showed interest in supporting us, like showing that we are doing something for the community, and I wanted to, see that we can be a strategic partner for companies adopting Flutter, so that they have a build partner that can provide, CI/CD support for this new framework. This was like, so now you have some big player recognizing a small player, and then you have the community getting excited about what you're doing. And so we decided to go all in and try it, if we can make it work.
That's amazing. I think you're very similar to BGV in that way, that sort of early on in the community, and there's a handful of other companies and also a lot of individuals, I think, that really kind of grew professionally as a result of being early and kind of deeply involved in the Flutter community. When you look back on sort of that strategic choice, and maybe it wasn't purposeful, even with BGV, in the early days, it wasn't really like a purposeful decision of like, oh my God, Flutter's going to explode and this is going to make great business sense. It was just more like our team just kind of liked the tool and wanted to use it, kind of like what you're getting at. But when you think back and reflect, how important was that sort of early engagement and contribution to the community to Codemagic's success?
It's the only reason we succeeded. Without it, we would be nothing. Like Nevercode was a good product. Like that was before Codemagic. And it was a good product. People liked it, but we didn't know how to sell it. And the product itself was not scalable. So after a certain threshold, like the way some architecture decisions were made, the product, and this was a known issue, that we couldn't take it too far. Like one customer may have started to affect other customers. So this was critical for our success. Like, and if we didn't have the community to like speak on our behalf or like advocate for us, and we didn't have Google like trusting us or being, or also putting bad bets on their partners, right? We wouldn't be here today.
Let's talk about that community aspect. So obviously the technology choice getting sort of recognized by Google, and I think being early to an ecosystem, it creates opportunity for you to be recognized by a company like Google. Whereas if you got into Android or something else, like you would be swimming in a sea of tons of other companies that are already there. So the technology choice was helpful. But I know you're also a very strong advocate for community involvement, not just embracing a technology, but actually showing up and engaging the community and going to the events and talking to the community more regularly. What was the sort of provocation or source of the desire to lean into the community in the early days of Codemagic?
So when I joined to become this business person, or be like a business developer person, and had to come up with a plan, like now that Flutter is out there, how do we now market ourselves? And we didn't have a big marketing budget either. And so I tried different things, but I think it took me like 2-3 months or something to start going into this community stuff. But I quickly started to message people in the community and ask them, like, why are you using Flutter? Like, where do you get your information on tools? Like, where do you go to meetups? Or like, where does the community get together? And then I realized that there are a lot of these groups of people who are excited about Flutter that meet in different cities. And this was new for me. Like, I hadn't worked in tech for so long. And I was like, okay, so there are these like really big fanatics that come together and start celebrating some technology. Okay, cool. What if I go to some of these meetups and see what they're like? And then you go there and you meet the people, and they're telling you about the work that they're doing and what they're experimenting with, and they're really eager to help you. And then I started to go more and more to these events because, first of all, I learned a lot. And secondly, you start building a network. And with the little budget that we have back then, like word of mouth is what I put all my bets on, is trying to, show up, show that I care, support what they are doing, like, and learn what they needed, so that I can be this kind of a DevRel back then, or like listening to what the community wanted and then doing something. And what ended up happening is that you start getting a lot of opportunities. So when you start keep showing up, people start inviting you suddenly, or people start, saying like, or asking you for advice. It's like, hey, we're thinking of doing another meetup, or hey, we're thinking of building a project, or hey, we're thinking of doing a hackathon. Like, do you guys want to participate? And now suddenly we are somebody, right? So now suddenly people are like paying attention to us. And I've always had this belief that if you do good for the community will do good back to you. And you just stick to this value, like, okay, like this is a promise that we're going to make. And so far it's been paying off very well. If we keep investing in the community, and because ultimately, like, all of our customers are Flutter developers, and the only customers are Flutter developers, then our success is very closely tied to Flutter's success. So we'll do our part, which is to, go to these events, try to support them and listen to their feedback. And yeah, it's been very, very good.
So when you go to these events, you sponsor meetups, which has a cost, obviously, to like get the booth and everything. You have to travel and pay for people to be there and attend these events, and you being this visible part of the Flutter ecosystem. How did you as a business kind of like plan or justify or measure the like ROI of that activity, right? Because I think if there's companies maybe sitting on the sidelines of that activity, they're like, well, what am I going to get out of it, and how do I explain this to my leadership or the budget people, right? Like, how did you guys contextualize this, and what have you learned in terms of like ROI of these activities?
In the beginning, there was no justification as such. So there wasn't anything. It was just, what can we do? What seemed like a good idea, and then started to do it. I think the ROI aspect, or like kind of like justifying investments, like what the type of investments we're making today. Like back then, first of all, we didn't, I just showed up to those meetups, and I tried to connect people. Like, let's say somebody wanted to speak at another meetup, so I just brought them two together. So that helped me a lot. But talking about the value that the community has for the business, so how do we justify that? Like, well, how much should you invest in community activities? When you're investing in ads, right? So then you can have a relatively good understanding of your returns. So that's like a marketing spend, then you measure the number of sales that you're making. Like, if you increase your marketing spend, do you get more sales? So that's like a fairly like straightforward approach, right? With community, it's a little bit different. So those dividends start to pay later. So one thing that is very difficult to measure is brand. So how do you invest in brand, or how much should you invest in brand? So this is part of like a community investment, right? Like, how do you measure a brand return? Like, it's very difficult to measure these things. It's something that you trust is a good investment, and you put money there in the hopes you'll get returns. Like, how I've justified it today is, if you are not like, if you're starting out, there's a good chance there is a default choice on the market. Like, let's say if you want to build a Flutter app, there used to be a default choice where you're from, like what you should choose, and choosing anything else is a very bold move. Like, most people will argue against you. Like, why would you choose something else? Like, consider VGV or consider Codemagic, why are you not choosing GitHub Actions, or why are you not choosing Jenkins? Everybody in the company has been doing it like that. Why on earth would we change something, or why would we try something new? And here is where brand plays a role. Like, if you can say that, Codemagic has been with Flutter since the beginning, and if you can make that association in person's brains that, Codemagic and Flutter go hand in hand together, like it's a match made in heaven. Like, maybe you stand a chance to actually like be in consideration of a customer in this case. So having this good brand is important. Another thing that I'm getting feedback on is what I find valuable is product and like customer feedback. You can build the best product in the world, but if you don't have a community, it's very hard to get people on the call, on the phone, or like, let's say you're about to release a new feature, you're sending like hundreds of emails and no one is responding. So let's say you put like, I don't know, $10 Amazon or $100 Amazon voucher in your email saying like, hey, if you spend 15 minutes with me to explain the product or with your feedback, I'll give you enter the raffle of $100 Amazon voucher. And that already introduces bias, right? So now you are getting people replying who care about this thing, or maybe there is a wrong motivation here. What really helped us to build a good product was this community, because now we can go and ask feedback from these guys as well that I have made friends with before. It's like a network, right? And I've used this when, for example, we introduced pricing. So in the beginning, Codemagic was free. And then when I was talking about it at some events in the States, people were very skeptical. And they asked, so what's your business model? You're a free product, right? So what's your business model? And I was like, what do you mean? It's a free product. Like, isn't something to be happy about? It's like, no, I don't trust it. And you wouldn't figure this stuff out unless you actually go out, talk to people, and they feel comfortable enough to share it with you. And then you was like, okay, guys, we should probably make some business case for it. Like, otherwise people just not going to get it. Like, they're thinking we're stealing their data or whatever. Maybe we should explain how we make money. And coming up with our pricing model, it was very helpful. So now I could actually put, these community people that I've met as like personas and think like, okay, what are they going to say if I present this to them? And I can actually talk to them and present these ideas to them and get feedback. And that helped us to create our first pricing, for example. Similarly, like when we create the major new feature release or product release that allowed to build not only Flutter apps, but other apps as well, like native applications, then how do you position that? Or how do you create your messaging around it that still keeps your existing community, but now allows them to, bring their other applications on Codemagic as well? So in that sense as well, this community has been super helpful. Similarly, for hiring, for content writing, and many other things, the community has been very good. And how do you measure that? Like, I think the easiest way that I've thought about it is, let's say your company has certain goals that you're about to hit. So how much budget are you going to put aside to hit those goals? And community is just part of that budget. Like, if you take it away, then there's a good chance like you'll run into some problems. Like, strategically, you'll find that, oh, we couldn't get people on the phone. Like, it's difficult to get user interviews, or I don't know. We couldn't find content writers. Like, they're difficult to find, or stuff like that. Like, oh, we made a bad product decision. So having this community there is just like a booster to building good products.
Amazing. So, I mean, so many good things in there. It's brand, lead generation, product feedback, all the things that come with community. I think we're in an interesting phase, right? Those of us that have been around since the very early days of the Flutter ecosystem, where it was very small and the community, like you could kind of almost know all the major voices, but now you've got all these big, gigantic companies also working in Flutter. And I'd love for them to hear what you just said around sort of the importance of showing up at these events, because it's a way to really engage face to face with maybe your potential future hires, customers, relationships you can forge. And I think that we have a tendency as a business people to be like, oh my God, what dollar can I spend and get $2 back, and how quickly can it happen? And these things are longer term investments too, like you're saying, relationships and being able to call those people up when you need the help. And that's super valuable, but hard to put a dollar figure on or something.
Yeah, attending conferences is different, right? Like, you can sponsor conference events. Like, it's relatively easy to measure the ROI of that. Like, how many leads did you sign up from that event, and how many deals did they convert from there? But there is added value to it as well, which is this community part. Like, how do you actually build relationships in this world?
Yeah. Well, and while you're right, you can kind of like track those metrics, and how many leads and contacts did you get and deals did you get out of it. But at the same time, I feel like that also can diminish the value. Like if you're only looking at that, like how many
Hmm.
new clients did I sign up because I sponsored this event? But realistically, I mean, I like the phrases where it depends. Some people say 6 months, some people say 12 months, but like your current like pipeline is based on what you were doing 6 months or 12 months ago, you know? And I think if you think about the, especially the 12 months, right? That's a long time in the future before you might start to see the results because you just don't know. Maybe somebody meets you at an event or a meetup and there's nothing happening then, but maybe a year later, they're like, oh, now I'm in a situation where I need a solution and maybe I'll call Martin at Codemagic, you know?
Exactly. It's like people buy from people they know. Like it's very difficult to sell something that requires trust to somebody who doesn't know you or doesn't
Right.
trust you, right?
Yeah.
Like it's how do you always stay on top of mind of people? Like even if you have the best fridge in the world, like you're not gonna convince somebody that already has a refrigerator to change it. But maybe you have a friend who's looking for something, or maybe you're gonna buy a
Yeah.
new flat or something like that. Then it's like, oh, I'll call Martin. He has the best, good fridge. Like I met this guy. I like him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's shift gears a little bit into like the changing Flutter ecosystem because we were saying in the early days it was a lot of enthusiasts, a lot of individual developers. You had Google in there, but I know you're in an interesting spot because you have companies that sign up to use your product, and I'm curious how you've seen the Flutter ecosystem change over the years, just based on the shape of the type of customer you're getting. Has it changed recently?
It has. It has changed significantly, especially in this year in particular. We've always been good at this small businesses and like this community stuff, right? Where you have people and hobbyists and enthusiasts who are interested in trying your product out. And I've always believed that, if you build a good foundation, like let people experiment and learn and use your product, and maybe in the future when they go into positions where they can choose the tools they use, that they'll come back to you. Well, today we're definitely seeing that. And the types of companies that are coming to use Codemagic, we've got some really big companies now using it. Somebody that we've never thought was possible before, but now they are actually coming themselves and reaching out to us like, hey, we're interested in using Codemagic. Can you help us out?
Hmm. And these are like massive, large enterprise type brands. Yeah.
Yeah, very big companies. And
That's
this
cool.
was not the case before, which is the surprising part. Like it only, and in particular this year is when we are starting to see that. Maybe they were there before as well, and only we just got lucky this year. But if you're asking like, what have we noticed different, then definitely like a lot of enterprise customers, in Flutter specifically, have signed up with Codemagic recently.
Do you think that's both a result of the work that you guys have been doing, but also a result of like where Flutter is in its maturity? Is it both of those things, or one or the other? You think?
Um, our success is very much tied to Flutter's success as well. Um, it's hard to pinpoint it. I don't think we've done anything that different. Like we continue to invest in like community activities. We continue to, uh, make our products better. But have we done anything like massively different, like in the past couple of years compared to today? I wouldn't say so. I think people like we're riding the wave in a way. So you can say that we got a little bit lucky, or maybe the efforts that we have been putting in all these years, they're paying off, right?
Well, I mean, I think anecdotally, we can see that Flutter's enterprise adoption more broadly has ticked up a lot over the last couple of years. And I think one of the interesting nuances is you see it in your customer data, who's signing up, who's talking to you, who wants to use it. We see it in our client base. And I think more broadly, you see it in the community, but it's not quite as visible, right? I think that one of my hypotheses, there's so many big companies using this technology comfortably and safely that the community is not even aware of. I mean, we find out almost like monthly or even weekly about some new gigantic, highly recognizable company brand that's been using it for years even, and nobody knows. You
Hmm.
find some job posts where someone's hiring a senior Flutter engineer or something, and you're like, what? Like no one even knew. So it's definitely been interesting, and I think it's cool for that you're actually seeing it in your data as well. It's not just anecdotal; it's you're actually seeing it happen.
Actually, something what we have done recently, maybe this is a big reason for all of this, like enterprises paying attention. We think now already for 2 years, we have been this SOC 2 audited company. So we have this ongoing audit, like the SOC 2 Type 2 audit. Previously, we didn't advertise it as much, but this time we put it on this enterprise page that we have this SOC 2 because like some customers, we promised them that we're going to get it, and it was that their contract depended on it. So now that we have it, we have been getting more interest. So now actually, I take it back. Maybe we did do something. So maybe this SOC 2 thing has helped us a lot. Yeah.
You're probably right in that regard, in that certain like highly regulated industries, financial services, these types of things, they need that security, that compliance, in order to feel comfortable moving forward. And I think that's probably a symptom both of Flutter's maturity and of your maturity as a business, where you get to a certain point where all of a sudden you can actually like invest in doing that. Cause we just went through it as well. We just got it also. And it's, it's a pain. It's not an easy thing to do. And there's all these rules and things you have to set up and audits and things that you have to do. And it sort of seems a little like, ugh, like, why do we have to do this? But these bigger companies, these large enterprises, they not only need it, they require it, And so I think it's also a thing where like Flutter itself gets more mature, it gets more safe, and like it's a safe choice. Whereas 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, Flutter was a very risky choice for an enterprise business. But now I don't think it's seen that way. It's seen as very like reliable and something that any company can make. So, but the fact that you are getting to that point where 2 years ago you went through that step, it unlocks a whole new set of opportunities, not just for Codemagic, but probably for the overall community of saying, hey, this is a stable, reliable ecosystem that you can participate in as a business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And these the reports themselves, I think, what problem does it solve, right? Like what problem does this having this report solved and it not having it doesn't solve? We are still as secure as we were before. Like that's not really what this report is for. But buying our product, when previously, if an enterprise customer wanted to use us, they would have to fill in they have to fill in a bunch of forms anyway. But now they've had if we didn't have this audited report to show, they would have spent months filling in security questionnaires, reviews,
Right.
and all those things
Yeah.
before they could adopt us.
Yeah.
But this is like a feature for their risk team, so that they can more easily use us, so that they have like some standardized report that they can use. Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of things you're talking about here that are important. I think when we think about digital technologies and building product companies like you guys have built here, building tools for a community of people to grow, there's definitely product and technology choices, but there's also, brand and marketing choices around getting involved in community, or even process and sort of, these SOC 2 type choices. That's not really a product decision. It's not like you've done something in your actual product to make it a new feature or some new thing that it can do, but in choosing to invest your business's resources in doing that can unlock a new set of opportunities. That being said, are there things in Codemagic that you guys are working on? Like, where does the tool go next, or what kind of new features have you added recently?
Yeah, Codemagic. The coolest feature that we added recently is to do with this collaboration between or how you can test your apps easily. If today you had to share a build with somebody, like let's say you're working on a button, or let's say you're working on a page, and now you wanted to show the latest to the designer, then there's a good chance that the designer had to install the new version on their phones and test it, which isn't necessarily bad, but I think we can make it better. And now Codemagic allows you to have application previews. So we called this product Stellar, where if Codemagic produces you a build, you can now open it in the browser that's running on a real iOS simulator or an Android emulator, which is really cool, actually. because like if you have access to a simulator or an emulator, that'll also give you access to the developer tools in that. Like imagine changing a location on your device or changing language or text styles
Mm.
or, like sizes. Like let's say you want to see what the app looks like in Arabic, for example. Then these are all things that are relatively complicated to do on a physical device. And secondly, sharing a build immediately, like as a link, is I think a better user experience than having to download it and test it on TestFlight and then leave feedback over there. So this is a cool feature that we have, and what we've been working on, and we have ideas how to progress it even further. But today we're introducing this app previews thing, what Codemagic users have access to.
Oh, that's super exciting. Congrats on the new feature. And that does sound very compelling. Definitely, it's interesting because where you guys got started was being able to accelerate these builds and do the distributions. But, you're right, getting someone to install it on the phone. And, I know people have experimented with using Flutter Web to do those things, but actually being able to run it in a real simulator, real emulator is very cool. And I think is congrats on the new feature. So just to kind of wrap us up, I mean, we've talked about so many things here, the importance of community brand building. You guys got in super early. I'm curious, like, as you've progressed through this, what are some of the lessons you've learned and maybe advice to someone who might be an early member of a startup, a tech company? What are some of the lessons you've learned that you think you would give advice to yourself if you could go back in time?
I think trusting yourself is important, and trying to catch yourself on whether you are kind of too hopeful, like either you are ignoring facts or reality and trying to be overly optimistic. Then catching yourself there sometimes is like trying to rationalize decisions is probably not a great idea. So trying to be more objective at times is good. But if you're starting out and you're considering, then trying to get on board like technology like Flutter at the moment, it's super good. Like we've seen as well that Shorebird, for example, launched, and everybody is excited about this stuff. If you can launch something for a specific segment, market segment, and this will automatically build love for you.
Mm.
And having this community love for your product is something that I think it's very difficult for competitors to do, especially if they're large companies. So going after a small segment in the beginning, it will pay dividends to you.
Mm.
Yeah, that I think was a good choice. And if others are considering it, then now is a good time to get in. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about that because, we talk about, we got started 7-8 years ago now, in the Flutter community, and we're talking about enterprise maturity and adoption. But that, I think Flutter's still only really just getting started in the grand scheme of things of what's possible. Do you think that there's still plenty of opportunity for startups? Like what kind of pain points or sort of niche opportunities do you see that the community maybe could go solve, or what kind of advice would you give to people to get started in the Flutter ecosystem?
Well, actually, if you think about it, considering the number of developers, or the number of developers on Google side who are working on Dart and Flutter, and considering the user base that they have for Dart and Flutter, it's you wouldn't expect that such a small talented team can serve such a massive market and do a good job at it at the same time. I think at the Google I/O, it was said about a third of the new apps that are released to the stores are Flutter applications. So the question is how do you pick an idea, or what problems am I seeing in the community? Well, the good news is that everybody can check what problems exist in the community if they check the Flutter issue tracker. So go, and actually using these AI tools now is maybe an interesting way to do it. So if you go, maybe somebody who's listening can try it. If you ask AI what problems are exist in the Flutter ecosystem by looking at the issues, or maybe looking at the sentiment that's on X, or maybe looking at like what's being posted in Stack Overflow if people still use it, or in Reddit. Now is like best time, I think, to try to get these ideas because the data is all out there. And now actually we have some tools to read it, when previously it has been difficult, perhaps. So trying to pick the top voted issues, I think, is a good place to start.
That's all, I think most people, not most people, but one of the things that a naysayer against a community like Flutter, somebody might come in and say, oh, well, look at all these unsolved issues that are open on the Flutter repo, or does this get enough support from Google? But I think you've just reframed it as, don't look at that as a weakness of Flutter. Look at that as opportunity. Go find something important and high scale, because you're right. There is this disconnect. So many engineers, so many teams, so much, like, I think, kind of commerce being driven by the Flutter ecosystem right now. Really, you're right, being supported by, on a scale, relative scale, like not the biggest team in the world, in terms of the folks who actually work at Google doing this. Like, there's not that it's a small team, but that the disconnect between how big that team is and how big the market is quite large.
Yeah,
Tons of opportunity in there to go find something
exactly.
to do.
Like
Yeah.
think about it, right? You have like third of all the apps that are released in the world are Flutter applications, and there is a small team, so like not a small, but like a good team, good talented team supporting it. But the demand for like all the tools, what you need to now release these apps and maintain these apps and like grow these apps, this is still there. Like, and I think like companies like Widgetbook, Dark Code Metrics, um, Shorebird, there's a bunch of other ones. All of them have proven that you can build a business with this.
Hmm.
And if the Eric, who was one of the guys who started Flutter or like founded it, is putting all his eggs in this one basket, that is betting on Flutter to be big. Like, why shouldn't you? So I think there is definitely room for opportunity here. Like a
Yeah.
lot of developer tools that can be built.
Yeah, that's super, super insightful. And I hope anybody who's in the developer community of Flutter that listens to this takes that to heart and says, oh, there's huge opportunity that if I can go find something that I'm passionate about, that I can solve a problem for a lot of people, that can be the foundation for a business that I build. Or even just, even if it's not a business, just something that I really deeply care about and passionate, where I make a difference to the community. One of the things when I was at FlutterCon EU, that I observed, like, in the same hall as DroidCon, right? And DroidCon would have 2 or 3 or 4, some even 5 competitors that are kind of doing a similar thing, And when you go to the Flutter side, usually there's like only 1 or 2, you know? But when you think about the relative size, that's another example of that, right? There's the Flutter team building at Google, building for all of these engineers, but then there's all the companies. And I forget who I was talking to, but we were talking about, like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if actually there were like like competitors all here, right? Where they're kind of selling the same thing. And you might not want that, but if you think about it, right, for Codemagic, if you had across the way from you, the aisle in the Flutter space, somebody who's competing with you, I think I'm curious your thoughts, but I think that's good for the ecosystem, because that drives innovation, that drives momentum, it drives, competition to like make the ecosystem better and continue to do more and more and more things. And so I think it's exciting, and there's a lot of opportunity for people to jump in and just kind of create new things that can make a big impact.
Yeah, absolutely. If and we have a lot of competitors, right? Like, and we always have to answer this question, like, how do we still win if we are small and we're competing against big companies, or like if we have even if we have direct competitors, like what sets us apart? Because if we don't set ourselves apart, we're gonna die. Like, it kind of fade out. So it forces you to innovate and forces you to do better. And this will always lead to better products for the community. So the more competition there is, like, it's a guarantee you're gonna get more affordable products, better features, more of everything. So yeah, come join the party.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, Martin, thank you so much for joining and sharing your insights today. It's amazing to hear the story arc, both for you personally and for Codemagic, and embracing the Flutter community so early. And it's just wonderful to hear that, even especially this year, like really growing quite a lot, and seeing a lot of exciting new opportunities. If people want to learn more about Codemagic or try out your new app previews feature, where can they find out more?
Codemagic.io. And in particular, you'll notice app previews in one of the sidebars if you log in. So you can check it out there.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you at many more community events. I'm sure we'll see you there for a long time. And thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. And thanks, David, for inviting me. Cheers.